Hey, we're back live. This is PlayStation Live from E3 2017. We're right here in the PlayStation booth at E3, and it's time to talk about Call of Duty World War II. Glenn, Michael, thank you so much for joining us. You guys are from Sledgehammer. You're working on this sort of grand return to form for Call of Duty. It must be exciting.
Yeah.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
3 years in the making for all the developers of Sledgehammer Games.
Yeah.
And to finally be able to put it in the hands of fans on the floor here with the first time that fans are in. It's amazing.
So multiplayer, we got to see a first look at that at PlayStation's E3 Media Showcase just the other night. Honestly, one of my favorite segments from the entire show. And I mean, I think it helped that I was sitting in the audience. And I mean, it's so hard to explain this to folks who weren't in that audience because it looked like they had these crazy effects going. It was like bullets were coming out of the screen. Literal flames were shooting up. Flashbangs are going off.
Super immersive with all that.
Yeah, super immersive.
Yeah.
But it was great content. So tell us a little bit about what we saw last night, what we're seeing now.
Yeah, so you're seeing now the first look. This was back in April with the campaign.
Right.
Campaign area, yep.
And then last night at your show, which was phenomenal, Sony did a remarkable job bringing the multiplayer trailer to life. I think we're going to show some of that clip a little bit later. First look we've ever had for Call of Duty World War II for fans, and man, the reaction couldn't have been greater.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it. You know, I think we talked a little bit about this concept of divisions. I know is something that's new that you guys are bringing to Call of Duty World War II, and it's a different approach, a streamlined approach to the creative class concept that's been in Call of Duty for so long. So tell me a little bit about what that's going to mean.
Divisions is our replacement to creative class, and the great thing about having 3 years to really work on this game, it gave us a chance to look at every part of the experience. And so Divisions is the fantasy of enlisting in World War II. And unlike Advanced Warfare, where you were a Tier 1 super soldier, you had all the gear and weapons and intel you needed, these were 19, 20-year-old kids going to war, and you had a very different experience if you were landing in a Higgins boat on D-Day or dropping behind enemy lines as a paratrooper or showing up as a tank commander. So we want to bring that to life in Divisions. There's 5 iconic divisions, each with specific training and weapon skills and gear, and we hope that will bring a real true meaning to your playstyle and to your character.
It's a little bit of a way to kind of focus you too in a little bit, I don't want to say a class, but I mean it gives you a little bit more of a function.
Right.
It goes more with the World War II, right? That's the main thing.
Right.
To try and pull us all into this this war that we're in, and not anything in the future or whatever it was before.
Right. Now, last time we saw Sledgehammer, you guys did a grandiose, futuristic themed game. How much research went into going back to the roots of the series?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, Advanced Warfare was incredible.
I love that game.
Proud of that game.
Yeah.
The studio back home watching right now put their hearts into that game. And we've done the same here for 3 years. And Glenn and I and the team and Marty Morgan, our military historian, I mean, we've personally walked literally in the footsteps of the soldiers from Normandy Beach to Germany. We've been in foxholes in the Hurtgen Forest.
Basically studying. It's like you went back to high school for your sophomore, junior, and senior year. That's how much time we put into studying and researching for this game. And you have to. Everything from, the right patches to, their language, what they spoke about back then, it was different. And the sensibilities of 70 years ago. So we have to make sure we try and get all of that right.
So it's clear, the authenticity piece is really important to you guys, but again, you guys are doing some interesting things on the multiplayer front. So I know there's a little bit of this concept of kind of headquarters or something like that. So tell me a little bit about what that's going to mean.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Headquarters is the biggest innovation in multiplayer this year for Call of Duty World War II. It's an evolution that really began 6 years ago with us on Advanced Warfare, where we recognized that players needed a better way to engage in their character and to represent their efforts. And so we brought the character to life and the virtual lobby then. Now we're extending that to a true space. So this is D-Day plus 3. 3 days after the Allies took Normandy Beach, you and 47 of your friends, so a 48-player living experience where you start and end the night, you compete, you socialize, you peacock and show off.
Oh wow, so it's like a hub area almost.
It's a really great place for the community to come together.
Really cool. Yeah.
We think it's going to transform how players engage with the game.
That's awesome.
Really cool.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
So I also know that the single-player campaign is a big deal for you guys. You guys were kind enough to answer some questions from PlayStation readers just a week or two back, right before E3. Yeah. Got a little more out of you about exactly what's happening on the story front. But just tell me about the setup. Tell me about our protagonist, Red Daniels.
Well, you know, Red is like, you know, hundreds of thousands of guys back then enlisted in the war, and you know, wanted to make a difference, having no idea what was going on. Right, and the first tour of duty is on Normandy and D-Day, and that was a big thing for a lot of people. So you're experiencing a squadron that is in the or a platoon that is in the 1st Division that goes across. It starts in Normandy, goes all the way across France, Belgium, and into Germany. It's and some of the biggest battles of World War II, from Battle of the Bulge to Hürtgen Forest and the liberation of Paris.
Now, I know you guys are focusing on that European front for the campaign, but I think I caught a hint that maybe it might expand a bit on the multiplayer side. So what are you at liberty to say at this point in time?
Well, we showed a lot in the trailer. You're catching part of it here. This is the Ardennes Forest, which extends from Belgium to Germany. We will take you around Europe to the border of Russia, to the tip of Africa in Gibraltar.
Cool.
So,
excellent.
unique locations to multiplayer, as well as some of the most iconic ones from the campaign. And of course, in the war mode, we have custom-built maps for that mode as well.
Yeah, let's talk about that war mode, because this is something I've been real curious about.
Yeah, yeah, war is exciting for us. I mean, multiplayer in Call of Duty, we love it. We have the most fun ever with it. But it's largely a lone wolf experience, right? You're fighting on a team, but you're really fighting as a lone wolf. And 3 years ago, we really wanted to bring to life this concept of real teamwork. Yeah. And World War II was about that. It was about your squad. And so war is that experience. It's funneling true Axis and Allied collision of forces into these very strategic examples. You're seeing right here, they're trying to capture the manor. Well, the Axis team, the Germans, are trying to defend it. So we've built custom maps that allow you to move through these series of asymmetrical objectives as you fight to take hollowed ground.
That's cool, and this is great footage. I actually hadn't seen this yet, but just it's so interesting, like the firepower that was used back then. I mean, it's so brutal in some ways compared to the sleek, futuristic kind of weaponry we see nowadays. So I'm kind of curious, like these weapons have a lot of character in their own way, and how do you maybe adjust like how you design the game or how you design the multiplayer experience around that?
Around the different weapons? Well, I mean, it's, you're jumping there, but you know, with all the iconic weapons that we have in World War II, it's funny because when we first started, we didn't think there were going to be as many as we found. Right, we were a little worried about the variety, but now the variety and the amount of weapon power, and like you said, some of them are really brute force weapons. Yeah. You know, you can find the weapon that you really want to play with. That's for sure with this game.
Yeah, I mean the signatures back then were really meaningful. So whether you're running with the MG42, this big machine gun, German machine gun, or the Winchester trench gun with your incendiary shells, or you've all heard it. We've all heard of that classic reload ping of the Garand. Right. These weapons had a heft to them and a power to them that really showcases what happened in the war. And you're right, it was brutal, right? It was a brutal, visceral, gritty war, and you can really feel that in our weapons. And our audio team, and our character modeling team, and our animation team, they went out and found these weapons with our military historian to capture and bring the spirit of that to life.
Right, right. Well, you know, I gotta go ahead and do this. I'm a big fan of the weapons and mastering them and whatnot. And one mode that I really like to use these in is zombies. I know me and you were talking about zombies.
I love zombies.
Could you tell us what to expect on that
Tell
zombies
us something,
front?
please.
Yeah, something.
Well, yes, we are making zombies. There we go. No, this zombies is taking a different turn. Okay. You know, I think every studio wants to put their own signature on it, and we just go by our default, which is very realistic, very gritty. We talked about Dead Space before. Yeah, this is Dead Space meets Meet zombies.
That's the best thing you could possibly say. I'm so excited to hear that. That's great. Because I mean, I love all the Call of Duty games, but zombies is kind of what keeps me coming back. I'm not quite up to par on the skill front in multiplayer, but co-op with zombies, I can really do some damage. So
zombies were introduced in the World War II setting.
Yes.
Call of Duty. So
it's a deep, rich story to zombies. Spent a long time on the story. We've been working on zombies as long as any other mode.
Wow, that's great. That's great. So it's got sort of equal placement for you guys.
Very rich, yes.
That's
There's a really passionate team back home right now, excited for their chance to show off, and we know that we've got more announcements coming on zombies, but yeah, it's definitely a Sledgehammer Games take on the original Nazi zombies and where we can go from there.
That's great. I think it's so important. You know, we have 3 different really top-tier studios that work on Call of Duty these days, and it's awesome that you guys have that sort of freedom to really put your studio signature stamp on it.
You know, they come to us every time we're working on a game, and Activision is just so about having a passionate team. What do you want to work on? What do you want to make? Because they know passion fuels everything.
It's not just sort of checkbox guys in suits and ties sitting around typing at computers. I mean, I've been to the studio. I was there just a couple weeks ago. People are crunching away, but I mean, the mood is really positive. People are really excited. So
yeah, no, thank you for that. It is very true. To echo what Glenn said, Sledgehammer Games has its culture and development methodologies and creative processes that are unique to us, and Activision supports that, and that allows us really to have a team that you saw, which really they dig in to deliver something they're proud of, because 3 years is a long time to commit your life to anything, right?
It is.
And now to bring it here and to be able to share it with the world, with fans, I mean, I'm coming out of my skin with excitement.
One other thing for you, I know we have a beta, multiplayer beta. It's coming up. It'll be first on PS4.
That's right.
Put my plug in there. Tell me a little bit about that beta. Like, what's the deal with that?
I have to tell you, fan feedback is what we live for. And it starts here, and it continues in the beta. So you'll see some really cool things that we brought to the show floor and we have right here in your booth, and new things that we'll bring to the beta in August, first on PlayStation. Headquarters, divisions, war, new maps, new modes. There's going to be a lot.
Sounds like a beefy beta.
I know.
It's going to be a beefy beta.
Yeah, it is.
And then I also want to check in. I was watching the trailer earlier on PlayStation's YouTube channel in 4K, and I know you guys are planning PS4 Pro support.
That's
and I know last year's Call of Duty looked incredible on the Pro. You know, what's the story? You're going to be in 4K on PS4 Pro?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're planning on, but I don't know how much we're talking about.
But it's going to be a bigger experience on Pro.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this generation consoles allows us to do more than we've ever been able to do before with HDR and 4K, and we're excited. We're excited to have a great partnership with you guys.
It's awesome. Guys, I think we're about out of time, but game comes out November 3rd.
It does.
So that was Call of Duty World War II. We'll have a lot more coming up. Stay with us.
PlayStation